Hi, welcome to DIY Rick 66. From time to time I do product reviews or I do some kind of a tip or tricks on my channel, and this is going to be tips and tricks and possibly a product review. Not a full review, but just something that I've come across. If you follow my channel, I'm not your typical fish keeper. I've been doing this since I was 16 years old. I wouldn't call myself an expert. It's just what works for you. You can follow some of the guidelines that other people say, as long as you are able to keep fish in a square box by making sure that their bacteria cycle runs smoothly with water changes and making sure that you're going through the bacteria cycle to make sure that you're creating good bacteria to let your fish survive in a clean and disease-free environment, then that's all you got to do. If you follow my other channel, I have some limitations when it comes to physical limitations and mental limitations due to some physical and mental disabilities that I have, that I've developed over the years. So I'm not able to lift some really heavy things as much as I used to be able to. A lot of people recommend canister filters. I've had canister filters in the past. They're great, the FX6s and stuff like that. They're a little heavy for me to try to lug around and pull out. Interchanging the baskets and cleaning them out great, and you get probably a little bit longer life than what my setup is right now. But I've kind of developed my own thing. I did recommend sponge filters in the past, and they're great. It's a low budget alternative to have sponge filters. You got to maintain the air pump. They can be a little bit noisy. They do agitate the water good enough to create oxygen, but it's a little annoying sometimes. And trying to clean the sponge filters because they're actually in the water, and there are separate ways you can do it that don't really make your tank messy when you do that. But I've had some issues where I've done some backfilling on them because I got stubborn, didn't want to use the air filter in it. I didn't like that they were restricting the flow and ended up flooding my floor because it backslided. I've actually now had Tidal 110s, 2 of them. So I'm figuring I'm over filtering this aquarium. It's a 75-gallon aquarium, set up about maybe 4 months now. So it's still kind of early in its stages of getting to a really nice bacteria cycle, but it's running pretty smooth. I go ahead and have my filters in there, and I've got my biological media in there, and it's great. I can alternate them. When I see the indicator pop, I can go ahead and change my filters out. But it's a lot easier changing those baskets out for me. I pop my lid off here, DIY canopy, and I pull those filter baskets out, and I can change them pretty regularly, no problem, with just a layer of sponge filter in there. Okay, let me delve into this a little bit deeper, hopefully not making the video too long. Why I over-filter with 2 filters. I already explained my limitations with trying to lift a heavy canister filter. But having 2 Tidal 110 filters in a 75-gallon tank, let's be honest, with the amount of rock I have in here, I may have taken out 10 gallons of water, displaced 10 gallons of water. So I'm maybe only filtering 65 gallons. So let's say we turn this tank over 10 times per hour, meaning we filter it 10 times per hour. We're looking at 650 gallons per hour. Well, a 110 filter will filter 450 gallons per hour. So I have 2 of them on here. So technically we're filtering at 900 gallons per hour. Now, let's say the media gets clogged up a little bit. Maybe we drop down. We're only looking at maybe 800 between the 2. We're still over filtering this aquarium compared to, say, an FX6, which is actually rated for 400 gallons per hour. Everybody swears by them. They're very expensive. And then they throw on hang-on backs there to polish their water to do the same thing we're doing with the 2 hang-on back filters. Now let's get into electrical costs. An FX6 will actually go through 43 watts per hour. So now you say, okay, well, what are those running? Those are running 24 watts per filter. So you're looking at 48. So you've increased your wattage by 5 watts. 5 watts is a major setback for us, and you're getting twice the amount of filtering. We could either go down and maybe say that they're not filtering as much as they should, and they're only filtering 700. We're still over 10 times what this tank should be filtering at. I mean, 650 gallons per hour. We get the max you're really filtering. The only drawback is they're a little bit unsightly with the blue knobs and stuff like that. I wish they would change and make everything black since I have a black background. I've come up with another idea. I'm recently having some issues with some algae bloom. This is a new home and we didn't have blinds here at the window. We're getting indirect light. So you can create algae with indirect light, whether you know it or not. It doesn't have to have direct sunlight shining on your tank. Just indirect light coming in from a window can actually create algae. So things in there have been a little bit slimy and I was trying to figure out what was going on. I have the blasting sand from Tractor Supply, the black blasting sand. I thought I got all the oils and stuff out of there. So I was feeling some slime on the rocks and on the filters, and I've determined that I'm getting an algae bloom in the water column and also on the glass itself. So I do a lot of things, let's say, out of the box. I do a lot of DIY projects on my aquariums and stuff like that. I don't always follow the norm with everybody in the community when they do things. This is an African cichlid Mbuna tank, but I'm going to install an ultraviolet light. And I'm going to put this, I've done the measurements, and I'm going to put this right in my hang on the back filter. I'm going to take one layer of sponge out. I'm going to put this at the bottom, right before it comes into like the pre-filter on the 110. At the bottom layer, this is going to be the next layer up. I'm going to put this in there, and then my sponge filter on top of that. So you're going to have like a more coarse and a fine, your bacteria media. I don't want to get too crazy with this, but this is just a regular, from China, like everything in the world, UVC disinfection bowl. It's not going to have any filter on it or anything like that. But what I've read is a lot of the saltwater hobby, which I used to do back in the day, use these in their sumps, and they also have the inline filters. And what it does now, let me give you a better determination. UV sterilizers, they're for fish tanks, offer several advantages, reducing harmful microorganisms and improving water clarity. By exposing the water to ultraviolet light, which interrupts the DNA of pathogens like bacteria, parasites, and algae, preventing them from reproducing. This can lead to a healthier environment for your fish and other aquatic life. In other words, UV lights don't really kill the parasites. It just disrupts the DNA. It'll disrupt the DNA, they won't be able to reproduce, and eventually they will die off. So this is supposed to keep our aquariums more disease-free. Now, if you get some kind of a pathogen that gets into your fish, then that's not going to work. These are only going to work for pathogens, ick, things like that. They're in the water column that are going to get sucked through the filter and then sterilized by the UV sterilizer light. So it also reduces the microorganisms, controls algae growth, improves water clarity, it complements the filter systems, and it's a chemical-free control. So you're not using a lot of the medicines and things like that. Hopefully this is going to keep things under control. Sometimes our fish just get sick. They've had a pathogen in them you didn't know about, and another fish stresses them out, and that activates that pathogen to where it takes over that fish and it causes death, or it starts to breed in your community tank. It's going to reduce the disease spread by reducing the number of pathogens in the water. It's going to potentially make the fish healthier. It's going to reduce the maintenance because it's going to have clear water and reduce algae growth, less frequent cleaning and maintenance. We'll see if it's going to work. I'm going to be your guinea pig. Like I said, I do things out of the box. Okay, so these are all over the place. You can get them from Amazon. You can get them from eBay. I'll put the links in the bottom of my description there on YouTube. You can check it out. You're not supposed to touch the bulb when you pull these out. They are wrapped because the oils from your skin will actually degrade the bulb, like a halogen bulb back in the day. Now what I have is, it's just basic. I mean, we're talking 13 watts, just an on and off button, probably like a 5-foot cord. And I'm gonna plug this into my timers on my light. So my lights are only running 2 hours a night, just for my enjoyment. You gotta remember, fish don't need light. They're just for your enjoyment so you can see them. They can thrive in low light conditions if you want them to. And that also will promote less algae growth. So it's wrapped up like this, and there you are. It's just a standard bulb, UV bulb, $15, $18, shipped right to your house here in the US with taxes. It's got just the on and off, you're gonna leave it on. And like I said, this is gonna come on just for 2 hours a night with my lights. That way I'm not burning it all day, and that should be sufficient. And I'm gonna keep it at the lower levels of my filter, so it's killing the pathogens and things and the algae as it's coming in after it passes through my first filter. And then I'm not destroying my bacteria that's living in the higher levels of my filter. That's my theory. So it doesn't change or hurt my cycle. Shouldn't anyway, just 2 hours a day because your filters run non-stop 24 hours a day. 9.5 inches by 1 inch. It's got some heavy duty rubber caps on there. It's a little dusty. So it's not very long of a cord. I'm gonna say maybe 4 foot. Word of caution, you're not supposed to look at these. Not supposed to have it near your skin. It's not very healthy for you directly. In the filter, I have read that these can degrade plastic over time, but the way the Tidal filter works, it has like a liner filter that goes in there, the basket that comes out. And I'm going to put this in there. You can always replace the basket if it starts to degrade. You definitely don't want your filter to crack, your main filter to crack and have water all over the place. So you can even slip a piece of PVC over top of it. May do that if I see some damage starting to occur. I don't think I'm going to for 2 hours a day. Here's the switch. So what's going to happen is when those lights turn on, it's going to go on. When those lights turn off, it's going to go off because it's not going to have power. Okay, so I've cleaned up the UV light. And it also comes with these suction cups if you want to. You can stick it in your sump. So here's the tray I was talking about with the Tidal 110. You see how deep it is? And this is where it's going to lay in there, the UV light. So I typically take one of my filters like this. So I'm going to put the UV sterilizer just after almost like a pre-filter there. I'm going to put it in there like that. It's not going to burn the sides of the container. And if it does degrade over time, we can replace these. These are not as expensive as the original filter. You could put a piece of maybe PVC pipe over top of that if you want to, if you're concerned, but I want full flow going through that. Then I'm going to take my more finer sponge that I pre-cut, and I'm going to put that right over top of the UV light. That way we're getting all that flow coming past that UV light before it goes in and gets filtered even more. We don't really want that UV light directly on our biological media. Don't know if it would hurt it, but I'm not taking any chances. I'm your guinea pig here. I'm gonna layer a bio bag right there, and that's got the hydrogen and some bio media stars from some previous filters. And there's another bag of hydrogen clay, basically clay pellets. So there we go, that's how it's going to be set up. It's going to drop right back in there. You're not going to see any UV light coming out of there at all. It's going to be self-contained and it won't burn up because it'll be under the water layer of the filter tray there. So just in case I lost you, but I'm sure you're fairly smart people, it's going to drop right in there like this. Going to slide our lock on our filter basket so that it doesn't rise up. Put our filter lid back on. And there you go, easy peasy. This isn't going to interfere with anything. This is going to come up here where my lighting is, and I've got an outlet up here which all my lights will connect to. And like I said, it's going to go onto a timer, and hopefully that's going to do it. But like I said, I'm your guinea pig. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. That subscribe button's been running down there in the bottom of the screen there. Please smash it. Give us a like and a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know you like our videos. Please share with your family and friends. Come back, and happy fish keeping. Take care.